am Sue Webley. Welcome to another episode of Inspire. Good morning to you, one and all. Welcome to another episode of Inspire. I'm so excited that you are here, that you joined us as we continue to celebrate Black Women's History Month. And I'm so excited about our guests that will be joining us in just a few minutes. But if you are just coming on right now on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, or on Instagram, I want to invite you to share this out. You don't want to miss this conversation that we're going to have with the amazing Christin Webb. So if you've just stumbled upon this broadcast this morning, I am Sue A. Webley, an author, producer, and an award-winning minister and founder of Kara Solutions, a digital service agency that helps individuals, maybe some of you, and organizations to navigate the virtual space with confidence. And so I believe in the power of words, wisdom, and witness. And that's what exactly this space is all about. Inspire is a live interview style broadcast that is on a mission to encourage, empower, and embolden individuals to create change in their lives, their communities, and the world. And each week, we are joined by some amazing entrepreneurs, influencers, creatives, and thought leaders who share their testimonies, tips, and tools with us so that you are inspired to elevate your mindset, pursue your dreams, and do, as the late Dr. Katie Geneva Cannon put it so eloquently, the work your soul must have. We are live right now on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and on YouTube. And I want to invite you to connect, follow, like, and subscribe. So if you haven't already been following us on Inspire with Sue W on Facebook and Instagram, I want to invite you to do that. Most of you have followed us from Kara Solutions LLC, and I still invite you to go over there, but I am building up these two areas for Inspire with Sue W for as long as we are on Facebook and on Instagram. So head on over there and follow if you haven't already done so. But I also want to invite you to head over to our website at www.getinspired.live. There you can see all of our previous episodes. You can subscribe to our newsletter. There's some amazing things that are going to be happening with Inspire, with the Inspire Network, and we don't want you to miss a thing. We don't want you to miss a thing. So last week, we had the amazing Onyx Keisha come on. And if you checked out on social media, showed you a clip of that conversation. I do want to invite you to head over to our website to see the whole conversation. But she set us off. She kicked off Black Women's History Month in such a powerful way. And Christin Webb is about to, keep that momentum, take us higher. Every round goes higher and higher. And I want to give a shout out before we continue. Shout out to Shaw Battle, who is the founder of Black Women's History Month. She helped us kick things off last week. So thank you, Shaw, for availing your time. Thank you for all of the work that you are doing to elevate Black women's voices. We appreciate you. And thank you for founding Black Women's History Month. We're going to get into our conversation in just a minute. Christin Webb. Christin Webb, let me put her photo up. Isn't this beautiful? This pink, this smile, she just radiates power. So she is powerhouse speaker, facilitator, award-winning screenwriter, and the founder of the Greater You Leadership Series. She's a woman who doesn't stumble into greatness. She walks up to it and introduces herself. That's her motto. We're going to learn more about that when she comes on. We're talking confidence, leadership, legacy, and what it means to show up fully in rooms that are not built for you. Now, if you've been with me long enough, I do some internet research on all of my guests, and I discovered that, Christin got a little voice on her. She got, she can hold a note. All right. So here she is, as we prepare to meet her. Here she is honoring another great Black woman, Roberta Flack, at the recent Memphis alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated for the College of Black Spirits, keeper of the Cultural Flame program. Let's take a listen as we prepare to meet Christin.
We also want to honor recently deceased Soror Roberta Flack. Tonight we want to welcome Soror Christin Webb, who will be here as she sings Killing Me Softly in honor of Soror Flack. I want y'all to sing with me, either version, okay? Okay. But I'm going to honor Roberta tonight, Soror Roberta. I heard he sang a good song. I heard he had a style. And so I came to see him and listen for a while. And there he was, this young boy, a stranger to my eyes, strumming my pain with his fingers, singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly with his song. I felt all flushed with fever, embarrassed by the crowd. I felt he read my letters and read each one aloud. I prayed that he would finish, but he just kept right on, strumming my pain with his fingers, singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly with his song. He sang as if he knew me in all my dark despair, and then he looked right through me as if I wasn't there, and he just kept on singing, singing clear and strong, strumming my pain with his finger, singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song. with his song.
Sing, Christin.
Where my drink?
I was like, what? Yeah, that was good. That was good to me.
So honored to be able to do that. And I smiled the entire time. I don't typically do this. So thank you for sharing it, Sue.
I'm saying you got stuff to fall back on.
Ooh,
Yes, stuff to fall back.
in this economy, I need it. So I keep that in my back pocket.
Listen, we need every stream of income, okay? All the streams.
All of them. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Christin. It is amazing to have you. I am just so overjoyed that you were able to say yes, right? Because you're a busy woman, and so overjoyed that you were able to say yes specifically because it is Black Women's History Month, and I could not think when I was thinking about who I wanted for Black Women's History Month, you were one of the people
Yay.
that I said to my assistant, I was like, see if she can do it. Send her an email. So thank you so much again for saying yes. And before we get into it, I see you, Minister Diane Bobbitt, and those of you who are joining us, please do me a favor, share some more. Let's all come together and have this conversation with Christin. Before we begin, Christin, what is in your cup? What are you sipping on this morning?
All right. So this morning, I'm in my queen zone. So I'm in
Okay, wait, no, let me put that up.
I'm in
Come
my
on,
queen cup.
Queen.
Yeah, I still got as you can see, I'm drinking some tea. This is sour sop tea. Um,
What?
yes, this is sour sop tea, has many great health benefits. And don't judge me. I put some honey and a little Four Roses bourbon in here this morning.
Listen, you need some
A little
bourbon.
Four
I had some bourbon
Roses
last night. It's all right.
and a little tea. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whatever works, whatever works. Sour sop tea. Now, I'm from Yard, right? My
Mm-hmm.
people from the islands. So we used to drink sour sop all the time.
Mm-hmm.
My mom made sour sop all the time. And but I've never heard of sour sop tea. So I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, you usually can find it online or the international market. So yeah,
Hmm.
great health benefits. And I've got to try the fruit out one day. So I need to
Yeah,
try that.
yeah, 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 yeah. So have you tried? So the other drink that we drink is sorrel. So have you tried hibiscus tea?
I have not yet. I have not. I
Okay.
don't believe I've had hibiscus.
Yeah, try the hibiscus tea.
Okay.
We use the hibiscus leaves. We boil that down, add some ginger to it,
Mm,
make a really amazing drink. That we put a little of that rum in there. Put a little rum in there because you can't have sour without some rum. But if you just want the health benefits
mhm.
of the tea, they do sell the hibiscus tea that you can use. So go ahead and try that out.
Duly noted. Duly noted.
Yeah, go ahead and try that out. So I want to jump right into our conversation again because I've been looking forward to it. And so you live by a line that I absolutely love. You have a motto that I absolutely love. Your motto is you cannot stumble upon greatness. You walk up to it and introduce yourself.
Mhm.
What did that first introduction to your greatness look like?
Um, what did it look like? My first introduction. I would say it was the first time that I chose to use my voice in the loudest way, in one of the most, what I felt like the most intimidating ways at the time. So it was when I wrote my first book, my first novel. I'd been writing since I was 7. And it wasn't until I was about 27, 28 that I actually published my first book. And I think it was a lot of time that went in between there was because I was scared. Like I was scared to use my voice. I'm a creative, right? And so I'm sensitive about my ish, as they say. But to be able to take what is inside of you and put it on paper or put it on, a computer screen, and then that others have access to it and you can't retrieve it, that is a powerful sign of you using your voice and being comfortable with who you are to a degree. And so I think that is a sign of showing your greatness. I think we're all equipped, born with our greatness. I do not believe God made any accidents. I think it's actually pretty disrespectful sometimes for us to think that we're not equipped, because He didn't bring us here incomplete, right? We're
Mhm.
perfection in His eyes. So it's our I guess requirement to make sure that we're owning that and walking in that greatness and just sharpening that tool every day. So my first would be the book, which then catapulted into these other things, right? These other walks of greatness that we all take together. So that would be it.
Yes, thank you so much. I mean, that kind of self awareness and ownership is really, really powerful. And so many of us struggle with using our voices,
Hmm.
right? Um, and particularly Black women struggle sometimes with using our voices
Hmm.
uh, um, because our voices are often judged. When we use our voice, we you know we're called we're called angry,
Hmm.
rather than passionate, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And so our voices are often looked at as something as a negative thing, and
Hmm.
so we internalize that.
Yeah, absolutely. We do. We tend to then want to be quiet, right? Want to shrink, not want to use our voice, or questioning, did we say the right thing? Or did we show up the way, just always these second guesses and these second thoughts. But I, I continue to try because I'm not perfect at it, right? But I continue to try to just remember that I am already equipped, like I'm already enough. And what does that look like? He already told me I'm enough, so I need to own that and then just sharpen what's there. But it does take self-awareness because I'm 43. I feel like I'm just arriving to this
Yeah,
point to a degree. So many struggles before today. So
yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. So, as a Black woman, because we gonna center Black women today, right, and all
yeah.
month. So, as a
Hmm.
Black woman who is navigating leadership, right, and legacy, which we'll talk about later in real time, how do you personally define Black excellence, and how has that definition evolved for you?
Black excellence. I like that one. Black excellence, I want to say it's sacred. I think that's a good way to say Black excellence is sacred. It's not perfection. It's more about persistence. It's showing up fully. I think that's really important. Showing up fully, even when the world tries to write a different story for us. It's being able to understand that we aren't flawless, but we're flawed. But that we can still show up authentically with all of that. It's rest, it's resistance, it's joy, which I try to show up with joy. A lot of times people
Mhm.
are like, Kristen, you're always so positive. Like I intentionally push myself to move and think in that way.
Yeah.
Even though there are times that I don't, but I'm trying to be cognitive of that. But I think Black
Yeah.
excellence is joy, is showing up with strategy, even.
Mhm.
Black excellence is soul. I would even say it is rooted in excellence, it's rooted in truth and not in performance. So it's that authenticity and just being absolutely okay with who we are.
Yeah. Black excellence. I love how you define it. And I love that you included joy. Been talking about joy a lot, actually, since last year, particularly in the time that we're in our country, in our world.
Hmm.
We really have to lean into joy.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so that word has been coming up a lot. That word has been coming up a lot. And so, yeah, no matter what it looks like or feels like, lean into your joy.
Yeah. And to lean into that means that it goes back to that self-awareness, right? Um,
Yes.
and taking that self-awareness and then focusing on what is keeping us aligned with joy, but still aligned with strategy, right? Just because we show up joyful doesn't mean that we're not focused and taking care of things that are really critical or that really need to be, ironed out for us to move forward for progress. But we can still have joy while we do it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. So let's talk a little bit about that journey for you. And I'm thinking of how often, and this is one of the questions that I definitely wanted to ask you, how often we are told, Black women, right,
Mhm.
when it comes to, when it comes to leadership, we're told to lead from strength, we're told to lead from our resilience, right, but really from our softness, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes at the cost of our authenticity, which you mentioned earlier. So, what does it look like, Kristen, to lead from your whole self without shrinking, without code switching or burning out? And how have you protected your authenticity in rooms that really weren't built for you?
It's saying yes. Like at the very beginning, it was like, thank you for saying yes to be on the show, but it's saying yes to ourselves and giving ourselves permission
Mhm.
every single day, the freedom to show up as who we are. And not just in these polished parts. I'm probably a little polished this morning, right? But catch me on social media, you'll see some unpolished parts. Or catch me in the grocery store, you'll see me unpolished. But I think it's really giving ourselves freedom to show up and giving ourselves permission, like every single day when we wake up. Yes, I am Christin. I am Black Christin. I am resilient Christin. I am strong Christin. I am vulnerable Christin. And giving ourselves permission to show up is that. Even in a more technical way, when I speak and I go into some spaces where I don't look like anyone else in the audience, or let's say even when I go up north, I'm a Southern chick all day long. So you're going to hear
Mhm.
y'all come out my mouth. You're going to hear certain, dialect that may be different
Yeah.
from others. But I share from the beginning. I tell at the beginning, y'all gonna hear y'all. Y'all are gonna hear some Southern dialect, and I am owning who I am in that moment, and I'm not shying away from that. So I think it's being comfortable with self and owning it from the start, and giving ourselves permission. And I think that again just goes back aligned with authenticity.
Yeah.
And grounding ourselves in our purpose. When we really understand what our purpose is, it's a little harder to be shifted from that. Like when
Mhm.
you really know, no, this is why I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be in this room to do X, Y, Z. When we lean into that, it's hard to not own it, not rest in it. And if you don't, you feel it boiling inside of you. When we're not doing what we're supposed to do, or we're not allowing ourselves to show up in those spaces that are hard to navigate, even as leaders, you feel trapped. You feel as though you're not giving yourself the freedom you deserve. So
Yeah.
it's that permission. It's saying, yes, I am who I am, and I'm supposed to show up like this. And anything
Yeah.
less is misaligned with me.
Yeah. 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 Thank you for sharing that. I was thinking about respectability politics. That just kind of popped up in my head because respectability politics is often what keeps some of us
Hmm.
from like fully owning our whole selves and showing up as our whole selves. And I remember growing up, my mom was like, "Okay, yeah, you can't dress a certain way. You can't wear your hair a certain way. You can't speak." I remember we couldn't speak patois in the house. She named us all, very Anglo-Saxon English names. Susan Angela Webley, right? And that's prevalent, like in the Caribbean. But for some of us who raised by parents like that,
Hmm.
what was instilled in us is that respectability is something that will keep you safe as you navigate the world, right? Assimilation will keep you safe
Hmm.
as you navigate this world. And it is it does take a lot of courage
Hmm.
to break free from that and say, you know what? That's not who I am. This
Yeah.
is who I am,
Yeah.
right? This is who I am. And so another thing that's coming up for me is I remember when I went into ministry, right? Now I'm tattooed, pears, bald headed, big sister, I don't look like the typical reverend. I don't
Hmm.
look like I'm an associate pastor anywhere, but this is who I am. And I had to lean into like this is who the divine created me to be,
Hmm.
right? This is how I need to look, how I need to show up, so I'm relatable to the audience that I am called to the
Absolutely.
people that I am called to, right?
Absolutely.
And so yeah, it does take a lot of courage to kind of break out of that
Yeah.
mold, the thing that's created for
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
Absolutely. And even with the story you're sharing there, like imagine whose saves aren't sold if you don't. I mean, whose souls, I'm sorry, I said it backwards, whose souls
Yeah.
aren't saved
Mhm.
if you don't. What impact are we not making when we don't? And I agree, it has been very difficult, or it can take a lot of courage to, get to
Yeah.
this point. And I remember doing it in small ways. Like I'm kind of outwardly not your typical 9 to 5 business. I never was that fully. It was always a hint of something. I put a brooch on that just kind of stuck out in your face, or I
Mhm.
put on a real hard red lip with whatever I had. Something that I felt like was still showing my creativity, still allowing me to show up as me. But once I really, really understood who I was, oh no, y'all not getting black and blue anymore. You're gonna get, a red dress. You might get a purple
Yes.
dress today. You might get, but it was me being again more aware, more comfortable with who I was, understanding that my purpose meant that sometimes I wasn't gonna show up like people expected.
Mhm. Mhm.
That assimilation wasn't gonna be there per se.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing. If you've just joined us, we are in conversation with the amazing Christin Webb. We're celebrating Black Women's History Month, and so we're talking about all the wonderful things that Christin is into and how she helps other women lead with power and passion and purpose. If you have a question or a comment for Christian, please go ahead and put that in the chat. I see you, Royce Morton. Thank you so much for joining us. If you go ahead and put that in the chat so that I can be sure that Kristen gets an opportunity to respond to to your question or your comment before we leave today. And so, as someone, because I want to talk about your book a little bit,
Okay.
Sean, if you could put that book up, you'll see it. As someone who's also holding space for others, because you hold space for other women, right? I know that that kind of leadership, that way of being, it starts on the inside. Um, we talked about self awareness,
Mm-hmm.
right? We talked about self awareness. So your book, 31 Days of Confidence, it speaks to something many of us struggle with. I struggle with it, right? A lot. I struggle with it a lot. So, what does confidence mean for you as a Black woman leader? And how do you help others move from simply surviving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Simply just being a leader to
Mm-hmm.
owning it, to owning their full self? Because you also talked about that. How do you help women do that?
Um, I think I love the way you said just creating space, right?
Mhm.
First, creating the space so that we can be, right? Sometimes we just need a space to be who it is we are, no judgment, no questioning of why we're showing up. Even in the last question, the last conversation, we're talking about
Right.
how we have to feel like we have to show up these ways. But in that book, 31 Days of Confidence, it's creating this space where I can show up how I want. And even though it's a self help book, it takes you through 31 days of prompts to allow you to help build your confidence so that you can be a more effective leader. The first way is creating the space for it. And then allowing individuals to come across tools for themselves and creating their own special sauce, their own special recipe. When I think about confidence, a lot of times we try to mimic other people. Like I'll use Claire Huxtable as an example. Oh, she's a
Mhm.
bad sister to me, and I used to love seeing her. And to me, she was confidence, right? She showed up sure of herself. She showed up intelligent, and I wanted to mimic that. Like I wanted to be there, but I started to mimic it. But mimicking is not being. Even though we can see it and pull from those things and make it part of our recipe, but mimicking is not being. And so you really have to tap into who it is you are. And so in 31 days, we take you through strings of stories, right? So there are stories in there, but it's creating the space for you to go step by step to understand who it is you are. Self-awareness is first, and I've got three other what I want to say, three core values, a total of four, but three other core values that I align it with. When you get your self-awareness, now you're ready for your accountability. Now you're able to hold yourself accountable. Now you're also able to hold others accountable. Once you can do that, you're probably doing it in a more effective way. So you have your effective communication. That's my third one. And then my last one allows us to be able to serve others. And so 31 days of confidence allows you to have that self-awareness, create accountability for yourself and others, and be able to communicate it in a way that doesn't distract from the messaging that we try to send on a daily basis with others. And I'll even say with ourselves first. And then being able to serve others more effectively in that way. So takes you through a string, those four core values. But confidence is not volume. It's knowing you don't need that permission again to take up space. And as a Black woman leader, confidence has been my armor. It has been my offering as well. And it's how I lead and how I serve, right? There's that servant leadership again. So through my book and through coaching, I can help others, or I hope to help others stop surviving leadership like it's a storm and to
Mm-hmm.
start owning it like it's their birthright. So,
Yeah, yeah. Say that quote again, the mimicking one, child. Go
oh, I
say
was saying, yeah, we don't want to mimic, we want to be, right? We can try to mimic others, but mimicking is not being who it is you're trying to be. So I mimicked
I
the
need to
hell
put that up.
out of come
We
on,
need to pass our play.
I like that. I like that. I like that. But I can think about so much mimicking I did when I really thought that was me showing up confident. No, and it was I'm an actress too. I don't say that often, right? But it's not me going on stage. It's not performative. It really is this authentic. I am comfortable with who I am. I am assured of who I am, and because I'm self-aware, even when I understand that there are opportunities I need to be taken a hold of, I'm aware of that, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
confident knowing that yes, these are areas I need to sharpen, but it doesn't mean that I'm not equipped.
Yeah,
So confidence doesn't mean perfection. It means awareness and taking that awareness and just navigating it with the tools that you learn or that you need to come across, which means you have to also have a growth mindset. Um,
yes, yes.
Confidence is a growing process. Who I was 5 years ago versus who I am today in confidence looks completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I'll stop right there. I could go all day on
Oh,
confidence.
listen, you could certainly go on. You certainly go on all day. But we're gonna take a really quick break to do some housekeeping stuff and let Kristen take a sip of her soursop tea
Yes, it's
in
time.
that queen cup, and we'll be back with more conversation with Kristen. Thank you so much again, all of you who have joined us on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube for joining us today with this for this conversation with Kristen. I want to invite you to connect, follow, like, and subscribe. Again, if you followed us on from Cara Solutions LLC, thank you so much. But I want to build up Inspire with Sue W. And so please head over to our Facebook and our Instagram pages on Inspire with Sue W to follow us there. You can also head over to our website at www.getinspired.live. We want to invite you to subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss anything that's happening with Inspire. We also invite you to check out our previous episodes. If you missed any of our previous episodes, you can find it there. And we also invite you to join us in conversation. So if you are someone or someone you know is on a mission to create change while inspiring others to do the same, we do want to hear from you. We want you to join us in conversation on a future episode of Inspire. Again, visit us at www.getinspired.live to book your appearance today. So I want to tell you a little bit about Cara Solutions. I haven't been doing that, but I'm going to do it today, helping you navigate the digital space with confidence. Cara Solutions is a full-service digital agency specializing in helping our clients achieve their goals through consulting and training, content and social media management, graphic and web design, and live stream production. So if any of those things are of interest to you, you want to learn more, you can schedule a consultation by visiting our website at www.cara-solutions.com or email us at info@cara-solutions. Now, we do this every Saturday. We want to help our sibling get a kidney, right? Some of you know her as just Yanni. Some of you know her as Pastor Yanni, Reverend Yanni, the Peace Pastor, however you know her. She needs a kidney. And so she's in search of potential donors who are fairly healthy, who have the blood types A or O, and the courage to commit to surgery and save her life. And she'd love to share those safety measures with you. So if you're interested, or if you have a resource, right? You may not be able to give a kidney, but you might have a resource. You might know of a program. You might be connected to something that could help Yanni. Please email her and her family at peacepeopleinc@gmail.com. That's peacepeopleinc at gmail.com to contact her and her family directly, or you can head over to emerylivingdonor.org and fill out that survey and enter her name, Ayana Davis. Listen, we believe in the village, we believe in community here at Inspire, and so for as long as it takes for her to get that kidney, I'm going to talk about it. So please also share, talk to your people, right? You might know someone that can help Yanni. So let's help her get her kidney. All right. Thank you again for joining us. We are going to get back to some conversation with the amazing Christin Webb. Welcome back, Kristen. Thank you again for joining us on Inspire today. You have certainly inspired us so far, and I really need to get a T-shirt about that mimic quote. Listen, we need a T-shirt.
Look, you might beat me to it, but I will look into it. We'll look into it for sure.
Please, because I will get one and,
Sounds.
and wear it proudly.
Don't mimic, just be. Okay, I think I don't
Don't mimic, just be. Listen. That thing is good to me. Don't mimic, just be. Let's
know.
go ahead and do it, please, Kristen. Please do that.
I love it. I love it.
I will certainly get that T-shirt, right? And so he talked about confidence, and for me it's like when we lean into that confidence, right, it's something we can't keep to ourselves. We
Mm-mm.
just can't keep it to ourselves, right? We start shifting the entire room when we really lean, when we walk in that room, when we're confident, when we get up, behind that microphone and we're confident, when we're pitching our business and we're confident, it starts to shift the whole room. So what do you think? And I know we've alluded to some of it, you might mention some of it before, but what do you think Black women uniquely bring to leadership tables? And
Mm.
how do we protect that brilliance from being watered down or overlooked?
Um, I think we bring obviously authenticity most sometimes, right? I
Mhm.
think we can bring authenticity. I think we bring power. I think we bring the ability to be innovative, like making something out of nothing. I think that's really key. Um, and we bring the ability to protect our brilliance and document our contributions. I don't know about y'all, but one thing I have learned as a Black woman in every space is to document what it is I do.
Mhm.
Not because I want to turn it over to others most times, which I'm probably going to have to turn it over so I can let you know what it is I've done. So you can take that into account, but it also helps me, like it feeds back into that confidence again, right? When I document what I do. But I think Black women, we bring our lived wisdom, our lived experiences. Um, I would even say our strategy from struggle. When I talk about that innovation, I think our ability to strategy that's born out of struggle, the unmatched ability to build while we're being overlooked, is what I think Black women bring to the table. We see what others miss. Um, because we've had to, right? We've had to see what others miss, and we're able to easily identify it, and we're able to again protect that brilliance, document our contributions, amplify one another. I think we're one of the most empathic groups and beings, to a fault sometimes, but that empathy is truly a way that we're able to amplify others.
Yeah.
So we don't always, we're able to lift others while we're also moving. So I think those are things that Black women uniquely bring to the table that our counterparts don't always have as readily available.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's also important, or one thing that I'd like to add is that we make sure that we don't pay attention to the proximity of power of others and forget our own. Um, I'll use when I was the CPO, a lot of times I would think because I had a mayor ahead of me or there was some governing body ahead of me that the power I possessed as a CPO didn't exist, right? And while that's in position, just in our everyday lives, we bring power to the tables, and needing to make sure that we don't allow proximity to other people's power to make us forget our own. So, yeah.
That was good.
Yeah,
Thank
that's what
you. Yes.
we don't just sit at the table. We build them, we rebuild them. We start new tables. Like, I think that's what we bring to the table.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. And then as we're bringing that stuff, as we're building tables, right, and bringing our whole selves and bringing this confidence and this leadership to those spaces, we're not doing that by ourselves, right? We're
No.
not showing up alone. We
Mm-mm.
have a whole history
Mm-hmm.
of strong Black women that went before us, right? That are we bring with us into those spaces. We bring that legacy, right? We bring
Mm-hmm.
that legacy with us. So, can you share with us, Kristen, some of the Black women whose shoulders you stand on, and whose legacy do you carry when you walk into a room?
Ooh, I love this question. I have to go with mom. Shout out to mom. How dare I not shout out mom? Like, she is definitely a shoulder I stand on. The power that she possesses, the ways that she's had to grow is what I stand on. Like, many of my lessons or much of the way I choose to walk and show up has a lot to do with the way I've seen her show up. So I have to say mom for sure. Then I would have to say this lady named Clementine Ramsey. She is the sister to Maxine Smith, who was an activist back in the day. She's deceased, rest in peace, Miss Smith. But Clementine Ramsey, my sixth grade teacher, my sixth grade elementary teacher, she was poised, she was confidence, she was dignity, and I wanted to exude that. I already said Claire. In my most recent time, I would say Barbara Perkins with the International Black Women. I love the way she creates space and allows us to stand. Like, imagine standing somewhere and say, okay, now it's your turn. Come stand on my
Mhm.
shoulders. Like, she's that. Bertha Looney, she is the last living of the Memphis State Eight, one of the first Blacks to integrate the University of Memphis, where I graduated. I wouldn't have my degree had it not been for her. But I've recently been able to, get acclimated and create a better rapport with her, and she allows me to stand on her shoulders. And those are the legacies. And I'm sure I'm missing tons of people I've met along the way, but those are some of the legacies that I want to build into my own and have that resonate when I, not just when I leave here, but while I'm here as well. But
Yeah, 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 yeah. So you're also building a legacy, right? You're also creating a platform for other women to stand on. You also have these broad shoulders for others to stand on. So, what specific part of what about your legacy are you hoping to leave? Not just in leadership, but uh, in how Black women show up in the world. Period.
I want when Black women hear my name or see it written or read my words that they feel braver. Like, that's what I want my legacy to be. I wanted that Black women feel more seen, they feel more powerful. Um, I want to leave a trail of open doors, right? I don't want those doors that I open to close behind me. I want to have cleared paths
Yeah.
for the folks, right? And a louder echo saying you can and you will. So I think that's what I'd like my legacy to be.
Thank you. What advice would you have for women who are challenged with embracing their authentic selves, challenging the area of confidence? Someone who's viewing this right now, who will catch this in replay, what would you say to them?
Trust you. Like, trust you. And you're probably saying, well, how am I gonna trust myself if I don't know myself? Then it means we got to get to know ourselves. But it's really taking the time to trust yourself. All our answers are already there. Like, when I look back to the what ifs, even now I have doubts about the future, but it's like, no, trust yourself. You've trusted yourself in the past. God has given you these skills, these abilities. What are they? How do you leverage them? How are they aligned with your today or your tomorrow? And then trusting yourself through that process, and being okay with what happens along the way.
Yeah.
So that's what my advice would be, because it's not easy, but if you trust you, the right people are going to come around, you're going to make the better decisions, and so on and so on and so forth. So yeah,
That's another T-shirt. Trust you.
I got all the t-shirts. Trust you.
Listen, we're starting a line, Kristen. So
That part, the women leaders walk and talk line. Yeah, trust you.
listen, and so you are definitely walking what you talk.
I
You're,
try
you're not mimicking, okay? You're walking
every.
the talk. And
My
so
mimicking days are over. My mimicking days are done.
well, that's a testimony.
Hmm.
But some of us are still stuck in the mimicking space. So
And I would say I still have to be aware because it's easy to fall into, normal habits. Like it was a habit for me to try to be somebody. When I took my first leadership role, I wanted to be like, no, I want to be like Kristen. It's not be like someone else. It's what is your special recipe as a leader and be her. So yeah. Hmm.
thank you, thank you. Any upcoming projects
Hmm.
or initiatives that you are excited about?
I'm excited about the Women Leaders Walk the Talk, our talk show. Hopefully, will come back soon, but in a different way. I want us to be in a city near you. So keep a lookout for that. And then I have a women's retreat that's happening. It's called Empower Her Retreat Intensive. This will be our second year for it, but it's an amazing way to like disconnect in order to be able to reconnect more effectively. And it's 2.5 days. It's in October. You can visit my website to learn more about it, but it's a beautiful space for women leaders, and I don't just mean by position. I mean women who are leading in all types of spaces and leading themselves first. If I didn't even put that out there, leading yourself first. But to be able to disconnect and reconnect in a beautiful space and beautiful community with professionals helping to retool and upskill us for tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you for your brilliance and your sharing your truth with us and for your leadership. And you reminded all of us today, not just Black women, but whoever is viewing, you reminded all of us, right,
Mm-hmm.
that excellence is not just about accomplishment,
Mm-mm.
right? But it's about authenticity and courage
Mm-mm.
um, and community. And you are definitely walking that thing out with some
Thank
grace.
you.
So thank you for joining us today. If you want, again, Tyshawn put that up to get Kristen's book, 31 Days of Confidence. Please head over to her website at www.kristinwebb.com. You can find out about that book and all about what Kristen does. It's a full site. It's a full site, and Kristen is definitely someone that you want to get connected to. Kristen, tell us where else they can find you on social media.
Absolutely. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Being Kristen or Being Kristen W is where you can find me on all of those platforms, or Christian Webb on LinkedIn. But I look forward to connecting with any and everybody. If you talk to me, I'm going to talk back. You're probably going to tell me stop talking. But I thrive off engagement and connecting with others. And it helps build my confidence as well, since we're talking about that today. So definitely
Yeah.
connect me with any of those.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you to our Inspire family, those who have joined us on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, on YouTube. Thank you for joining us for another powerful conversation. Those who will catch this in the replay, thank you for watching it after the live. And so, if something in this episode, in today's episode, spoke to you, if it spoke to your spirit, if it made you feel something, don't let it stop there, right? Share the conversation. Tag a Black woman who needs to hear what Kristen shared with us today. And most importantly, walk boldly in your own greatness.
Mm-hmm.
Remember to follow us, stay connected on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, where we continue to encourage, empower, and embolden you to do the work your soul must have. And so, once again, I am Sue Webley. You've been watching Inspire. And until next time, I want you to stay encouraged, stay empowered, and most of all, I want you to stay inspired. We'll see you again next week. Thank you again, Kristen.
Thank you. So glad to be here. Thank you, Sue.
Bye bye.